Elena from the ArcaNadea series by Kotobukiya. A really gorgeous kit. I have a lot of mixed feelings in this one, and we'll go over them all throughout this build and review. I'll be covering the full assembly, including its 3 modes. Go into some shading techniques that are good for the fur and leather, painting all the small details that the pieces hide, and also going over mistakes I made to help you avoid the issues with this kit. This will be as much of a guide as a review, so please check out the bookmarks in the description if you want to skip ahead. The box is huge with a lot of runners. There are a lot of pieces since the kit has 3 main forms, and most of the pieces are not shared between them except for the horse. The manual's thick and goes into some really good detail, guiding you through all the forms as you progress the build. The runners and piece management was actually a bit difficult for this kit, so plan ahead if you can. Plastic quality was a mixed bag. The gold tended to look cheap, so I ended up painting all of it near the end. Initial build is pretty easy. You start off with the head and upper torso, then work your way down to the horse body. It's worth noting that the hair design is intricate. It has a really nice flowing look to it. Sand away the parting lines and mold lines, and it looks good without much more work needed. I didn't bother removing any seam lines with this kit. The clothing and armor is so well layered, you don't really notice them after it's all done. In most cases, you can just sand the seams to make sure they're even, and they hide themselves anyway. There's a lot of clothing that is semi-transparent brown. It's kind of brittle, so be careful. I like the color, so I never end up painting any of those pieces of its type. If you're enjoying this build and review, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm always uploading more tutorials, build and reviews, so please come by and visit. The brown initially looks like a bear, but it fits together as things are built out. Most of the horse pieces are 2 big clamshell pieces. They can be difficult to fit together, so in several places I had to trim the pegs and snip open the holes a little bit. One particular part I had trouble with was aligning up the front leg joint parts. Not sure why I had so much trouble with this, but the bridge and the ball joint piece had a hard time going together. Once I did line them up, they were also a snug fit, and that made me doubt I even had it right in the first place. The seam was pretty well hidden in the muscles, which was pretty cool. All the belts and armor were brown pieces, with a lot of hidden details molded in, like buckles and straps. You will see later I end up painting them gold, and brush in on the brown strap part. The front armor connector and belt is really important. The armor types connect here, so take note as we will visit it again later. One of the modes has these gray armor pieces that fit in the front. You'll see some really cool engraving and raised areas on them. All the horse parts fit together with a ball joint of sorts. It gives some really good seamless flexibility. Pretty great design. The standard arms and shoulders are barely armored. Kotobukiya kits always have nice flesh-colored pieces. Again, I didn't bother moving the seam line since I ended up going with the fully armored pieces at the end. The rest of the horse goes together easy enough. This ball joint in particular has a real ball in it, and you need to line up the holes. I use a toothpick here to make that easier. The hooves are worth mentioning. They have 4 pieces that fit together like a sandwich. The ends are pieces that connect together, and while it seems loose, it's the way it should be. The front legs fit onto this axle of sorts. Easy to assemble and pretty well hidden, but difficult to take back apart if you ever need to. First form seen here is complete. Pretty pleasant. It's a nice point to stop if you're happy with the kit, because it only gets more difficult from here. I wanted to try something with these 2 front armor pieces. I started by priming them flat black, then I gave it a brush coat of steel. I used a wide brush, trying to give it an uneven finish so the armor looked a little bit used and scratched up. After that dried, I did some semi-dry brush coat with silver. Not trying to perfectly coat it, but it allowed the dark steel color to peek through. Followed by detailing the raised areas with white. From here we started on the armored modes of the kit. Starting off with having to take most of it apart. Adding armor to the stomach and chest for starters. Armored arms seem a bit complex. They had a normal brown armor arm, but then had various clamshell type pieces that fit around it. These were the armor and leather coverings with complex folds in them. They were a bit hard to get aligned right, so take note here. At this point I found myself still with a bunch of runners that only had a few pieces on each one left. So I made the decision to nip and bin them all, and I'm really glad I did. Being able to clean up all the runners made the rest of the assembly much easier. All the armor and leather pieces looked complex, but came together really well. They do make her hard to pose though. With the armor done, I started the detailing. I gave the fur a matte top coat. Then used soot makeup pastel to bring out the shadows a bit with a dry brush. I gave the fur another matte top coat, and while it dried, I started with the gold parts. Mentioned earlier, but I did end up spraying all the gold pieces again. With the fur top coat dry, I then used a chestnut color to highlight the tops of the muzzles. This gave them a stronger contrast and made them look more real. Use white paint for all the lining. Wasn't too clean and used acrylic thinner to clean it all up with a cotton swab. To keep things simple, I used a silver metallic marker on all the buckles and metal pieces. Liquid panel liner on the gold pieces. Lastly, painting all the white stripes and details fine on the various cloth. I had fun with the big leather armor on the side. Out of the box, it was pretty cheap looking. First, I spray painted the mahogany primer. Then I used soot makeup pastels to darken the creases. Finally, a semi-gloss top coat, which made it look like a newly tan leather couch of sorts. Was super happy with how that turned out. However, I was not happy with the belts on the side. When I went to put them back on, they both cracked and fell apart. I continued on, but had to come back later to glue them since they have a very important joint for the side leather armor pieces. The lance was another ordeal. There's actually a bunch of sub-modes with this kit, and it made the design of the lance far more complex than it needed to be. Plus, the lance itself is assembled from a bunch of smaller pieces composing it of gold, brown, and gray. The shield made the last accessory, which fit on this weird mounting thing from the back. Once all assembled and painted, it looked really awesome. It felt like it was a ton of work, but there's no regrets. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and come visit me over on Twitch.